Let's talk about Grail figures. I see this all the time on my For You page where I think some people are a little confused on what a Grail is. I'll see figure collectors get this figure at like a Target and they're like, oh my god, Grail acquired. Or they'll get like a Mezco 2099, which granted it is a Mezco release and those become notoriously harder and harder to find on aftermarket, but it's not the Grail of all Grails. Or I'll see like an SH Figure Arts Sukuna that everyone has and they'll be like, this is the Grail. Don't get me wrong, those figures are all great and I'm not faulting you if you have them in your collection. I have them in my collection. But I definitely think we need to redefine what an actual Grail figure is and what it should be in your collection. A perfect example of this is the Revoltech Deathstroke. The reason this figure is considered a Grail is because it's extremely rare. This figure has been bootlegged to death, so getting an authentic one is damn near impossible on the aftermarket. Because a lot of eBay sellers will use Revoltech studio photos to advertise a bootleg. That's why it's so difficult to tell if a figure is authentic or not. So you pretty much have to know the seller in order to get an authentic one. So shout out to OJ the Gooseman, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten it. He's also a figure collector and customizer on TikTok, so definitely give him a follow. A lot of Mezco figures, not all of them, but a lot of Mezco figures become Grail figures because of the fact that Mezco does such limited releases. So some of their figures become extremely rare on the aftermarket. A good example of that is this Necroverse Atticus Doom. But I would say that the best example of this is the Mezco Death Dealer. You cannot find this guy lower than $250 on the aftermarket. Most common trending price tag for him is around $280 to over $300. I got this the other day for $108. No box, but the figure did come complete. So I definitely think that's a steal for a Grail like this. I've shown you Revoltech and Mezco, but it's not just limited to those two brands. This is an SH Figure Arts Spike Spiegel. I think what qualifies as a Grail is just the overall increase in price aftermarket. Spike went from $60 retail to $150 aftermarket, so I definitely think he fits in the category. But hey, this whole video has just been my opinion. Maybe Grails are just the friends we made along the way. But in all seriousness, I think collecting is supposed to be fun. Whether you're collecting Marvel Legends or you're collecting imports, collect what you want. Don't just get something because it's a Grail. Get it because you like it. That's what makes it special in your collection. That's at least my rule for collecting. I never go out and try and buy something because I know it's rare. I collect a lot of figures just because I like them. But maybe you think I'm totally wrong. Tell me a Grail that's in your collection.